Hello， 大家好 ，Welcome to 双语成语 Bilingual Chinese Idiom. I'm 徐老师
And I'm Lucy. Okay, so 老师, what's the 成语 we're going to look at today?
Today we're going to talk about 画蛇添足.
Ooh, I have to say that snakes are my least favorite animal. I mean, they creep me out a little.
Same here. We all know snakes are one of the 12 animals of the Chinese zodiac. But do you know that in ancient China, snakes are often associated with positive attributes such as fertility, wisdom, and longevity?
Really? I have to say that's quite different from how they're portrayed in the West. Usually snakes are associated with negative traits such as slyness, danger, and evil. Like, when we call someone a snake in English, it usually means that the person isn't very nice or they've done something deceitful or manipulative. Another example, which I'm sure needs no introduction, is in the Harry Potter series. The House of Slytherin is represented by a snake, and characters from Slytherin House are all pretty much depicted as villains and are often looked down upon.
It's interesting to see the image of snakes vary so dramatically across cultures. In Chinese mythology, there's a close connection between snakes and divine beings. For example, paintings from the Han Dynasty about 2,000 years ago shows 女娲, one of the creators of humanity in Chinese mythology, and Fu Xi, one of the earliest cultural heroes and rulers in Chinese mythology, are both depicted with human bodies and snake tails.
Oh, that's amazing. So now I'm a bit curious as to how the snake is portrayed in this idiom. But before we move on to the story, 老师, do you think you could teach us how to pronounce the idiom?
Sure, let's have a go. The idiom is 画蛇添足. 画 is to paint and 蛇 is snake. Altogether, 画蛇 is to paint the snake. 画蛇.
So together that's 画蛇.
Good job. The second half is 添足. 添 is to aid and 足 is foot. 添足 is to aid foot or feet. 添足.
Okay, so that's 添足.
Well done.
Okay, so just by going through the characters individually in this idiom, 画蛇添足, it reminds me a bit of the one that we've just discussed in one of our previous episodes, 画龙点睛, to paint the dragon. So let me see if I can guess what the story's about. If giving the dragons their eyeballs brings it to life, does giving the snake some feet empower it to come back to life also?
Very good guess, but in the story, the snakes did not actually do anything. The idiom centers around a snake painting competition where someone adds feet to the snake. The question arises, is a snake with a feet still considered a snake?
Well, it's like the old saying goes, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. But I can't really see what a snake would have to do with a pair of feet.
Yes, so this idiom is used to express doing something extra for no good reason.
Oh, so it's like when people say busy for nothing.
Yes, you can say so. Shall we jump into the story to find out what happened in a snake painting competition?
Sure thing, let's go.
画蛇添足.
A step too far for a snake painting.
古时候，楚国有一家人把一壶酒送给几个工人。
In ancient China, there was a family in the state of Chu who gifted a pot of liquor to several workmen.
酒不够喝，怎么办呢？
There wasn't enough liquor to go around, so what should they do?
有人说，我们来画蛇比赛，谁画得快，这壶酒就给他。
One of them said, let's have a competition to paint a snake. The liquor will go to whoever paints it the fastest.
大家都觉得这个办法太好了，就开始在地上画蛇。
Everyone thought it was a great idea, and so they began painting snakes on the floor.
有个人很快就画好了，他拿起酒壶要喝时，看到别人还在画，就说：“你们画得好慢啊，我再给蛇画几只脚吧。”
One of the workmen finished his painting in no time. As he raised the pot of liquor about to take a sip, he saw the others were still painting and said, "You're so slow. I'm going to add feet to my snake."
他便左手拿着酒壶，右手给蛇画脚。
He painted feet on the snake with his right hand while holding the liquor in his left.
这时，第二个人也画好了，他过去把酒壶抢过来说：“这酒是我的。”
During this time, the second person finished their painting. He went over and snatched the liquor from him and said, "It's mine."
第一个人说：“是我先画好的。”
The first person said, I finished painting first.
第二个人说，你见过蛇吗？蛇是没有脚的，所以你画的不是蛇，我才是第一个画好蛇的人。
The second person said, Have you seen a snake before? Snakes don't have feet, so what you have painted isn't a snake. That makes me the first person to finish painting a snake.
大家都觉得他说的很有道理，酒应该给他。第二个人拿起酒壶，高高兴兴地喝着酒，而第一个人却只能在旁边干瞪眼。
Everyone felt that there was logic in what he had said, and so the liquor should go to him. The second person took the liquor and drank it happily, while the first person could only scowl by the side of him. Okay, guys, so that's the end of the story. Okay, so I have to say, what a poor guy. I feel a bit sorry for him, to be honest. He finished painting the snake first, but he was too complacent and lost his liquor. You know, I reckon this story could develop in different directions, depending on who's telling it. Like, people could praise the guy for his creative ideas or artistic expression. What do you think, Laoshi?
You're right, but I have to say, if I pay for someone to paint me a picture of a horse, I won't be happy if he paints me a horse with a tiger's head.
Sounds a bit like Mama Hoo Hoo to me, right?
Correct. I'm very happy you still remember what we discussed in episode 4 about Mama Hoo Hoo. The point I would like to make here is that this idiom actually resonates with the modern concept of simplicity and minimalism. It's like they say, less is more. There's no need to overcomplicate things, as it might lead to a loss of focus.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I totally get what you mean. I can really relate to that. You know, for me myself, as a big fan of drawing, sometimes when I do a drawing, I feel that it's important to know where to draw the line, as in to know where to stop and to exercise restraint. It's easy to get carried away when drawing, or even when cooking now that I think about it. For example, you know, you start adding a bit of this and a little of that, and then before you know it, you've gone a step too far and just completely ruined it.
I couldn't agree more.
So, Laoshi, what kind of context would you use this in?
When you want to describe someone who does something unnecessary, you call the action 画蛇添足. Or, for example, when a project is done to everyone's satisfaction, but one of the members decides to add something redundant, you can comment 真是画蛇添足. Or when our favorite story is turned into a movie, and the director adds some unnecessary subplot to it, we might lament by saying 画蛇添足.
Oh, I totally know what you mean. I think it could be so annoying when your favorite story is being turned into something completely different, with lots of 画蛇添足.
I agree. So Lucy, is there any similar expressions in English?
Oh yeah, for sure. So we have a saying that goes to add a fifth wheel to the cart. But depending on the context, I would say we would more commonly say that you've gone a bit OTT, which means over the top, or you've taken it a bit too far. Or, for example, if I wanted to tell somebody not to act in this way, I would say it's best to know where to stop, less is more, or quit while you're ahead.
I like the expression to add a fifth wheel to the cart. This image is so vivid, just like a 画蛇添足. And the OTT is very cute. I guess when we are carried away, we tend to do something a bit eccentric, like 画蛇添足, or add a fifth wheel to the cart, or OTT. I have a story to tell.
Ooh, I do love a good story. You've got to tell me now.
Years ago, a friend of mine was caught speeding in a moped. She pleaded with a policeman to take pity on her because she was a poor student and could not afford to pay for the ticket. Her was tugged at the policeman's heartstrings, so he said to her, I'll let you go free this time, but don't do it again. Before she left, she praised him, saying, You are such a good policeman.
Was the policeman pleased?
Please? Well, he asked her to stop and issue her a ticket immediately. She never expected her compliment would turn into a sarcasm toward the policeman.
Now that's a good story about 画蛇添足.
Now we all agree, less is more. I think this story serves as the ending for this episode. If we continue to talk more, we are likely to
画蛇添足.
Exactly. 谢谢大家.
Right, before you guys go anywhere, we'd love you, our beloved audience, to know that we'd love to hear from you too. Whether you have a burning question you'd like to ask about Chengyu or translation, or even if you'd like to have a go at translating our Chengyu yourself, who knows, perhaps you even have a better one than us. If so, please leave us a comment down below to let us know. Well, that's it from us, and thank you so much for staying with us until now. Thank you everyone for listening. See you next time.